Millionaire bets on love. But little does he know, she's the one to teach him a life-changing lesson. Before we begin the story, comment below with the city you're watching from. Enjoy the story. In a quaint town adorned with glistening snow and twinkling lights, 27-year-old Nathaniel was the epitome of success. A tech entrepreneur, his luxurious penthouse was filled with the affluence he had earned over the years. Each Christmas, the festive spirit enveloped the place with lavish decorations, and he always hosted extravagant parties to showcase his wealth. The crystal chandeliers sparkled brightly, casting shadows over the polished marble floors while the joyful laughter and cheer of guests filled the air. Yet amid the celebrations, Nathaniel often found himself grappling with a growing emptiness, despite the sparkling world around him. This holiday season was no different. Surrounded by a handful of old friends, they reveled in stories of success and wealth. But the focus shifted when Marco, Nathaniel's old college mate, raised an eyebrow and grinned mischievously. "Hey Nat, you've managed to charm every beautiful woman in this town. But tell me, could you win over someone the city least admires?" Nathaniel smirked, his jaw tightening slightly, convinced he could conquer any challenge. "Please, I could have anyone I want. It's all too easy," he replied casually. "What if we up the ante?" Marco leaned in, excitement dancing in his eyes. "Look over there." He gestured toward a woman sitting alone at a faded table by the window. "That's Clara, the town's trash collection worker's daughter. No one even glances at her twice. I dare you to make her fall for you. And not just that, make her believe you truly love her." Nathaniel turned to assess the woman Marco had pointed out. Clara seemed to absorb the atmosphere of the cafe, surrounded by strangers, yet strikingly unconcerned with her surroundings. Dressed in a simple wool sweater and jeans, she was a stark contrast to the glamorous environment, her piercing blue eyes filled with confidence that captivated him. Intrigued, Nathaniel felt a thrill run through him. While others may have overlooked Clara, he sensed an involuntary challenge stirring within him, beckoning him to accept the bet. "Seriously?" he sneered, still dubious of the idea. "You think I can't do it?" "You'll do it, but it can't just be a game for you, Nathaniel," Marco warned, half teasing and half serious. "This is about truly winning her heart." Flashing a confident smile, Nathaniel took the bet. He believed it would be a walk in the park, merely another conquest under his flamboyant belt. Clara was just another name to add to his list of triumphs, he thought, unaware that this simple agreement could irrevocably change his life. 2 days later, he learned that Clara frequented the same cafe every morning. Determined, he arrived impeccably dressed, turning heads the moment he entered. The aroma of fresh coffee mingled deliciously with the sweet scent of baked goods, creating an inviting atmosphere. Nathaniel spotted her there, absorbed in her book at a small corner table, seemingly untouched by the flurry of laughter and murmurs around her. With a flicker of excitement, he adjusted his blazer and strolled over to Clara's table. His heart raced as he approached her, unsure of how to initiate a conversation with someone so different. "May I join you?" he asked, a rehearsed smile plastered on his face. Clara, looking up from her book, raised an eyebrow in surprise. "Is this seat taken?" she replied simply, her demeanor calm and steady. Nathaniel hesitated for a moment, thrown off by her composed response, but quickly regained his confidence. "Nope, it's all yours," he said, sitting down uninvited. Clara resumed her reading, seemingly indifferent to his presence. That reaction stirred something unexpectedly challenging in Nathaniel. She wasn't trying to impress him, nor was she falling for his charm. It was rare, frustrating even, and he didn't like it. "What are you reading?" he asked, trying to ignite a conversation. Looking up again, Clara answered without missing a beat, an anthology of classic poetry. It resonates with the struggles of people more than any soap opera ever could. Her straightforward honesty caught him off guard, leaving him momentarily speechless. Nathaniel was used to women who catered to him, but Clara wasn't playing his game. He noticed the strength in her words and her lack of interest in the life he led, one dictated by superficiality. After a few awkward moments of silence, he attempted to steer the conversation back, So, do you always spend your mornings reading in cafes? Not particularly, Clara replied, her eyes fixed back on her book. I prefer a quiet moment before work, a chance to reflect. Most people are too busy chasing empty dreams to appreciate the beauty around them. Her reply unsettled Nathaniel, and he scoffed, internally contrasting that with his luxurious existence. In that moment, he felt a peculiar urge to break through the barriers she had set. She was different, completely different, and through the obscurity of their exchanges, he sensed a complexity he wanted to unravel. As the days passed, he found himself returning to the cafe nearly every morning, trying to win Clara over, failing as he often did. Yet each interaction left a deeper impression than the last. They talked about dreams, societal issues, and her father, the trash collector. She shared stories filled with dignity and honesty. Each conversation made Nathaniel question his life choices, challenging everything he had held dear. On one coffee-filled winter morning, Clara smiled softly as she told Nathaniel about her hopes to create a program for underprivileged youths, helping them secure scholarships for education. Every child deserves a chance to learn and to dream, she stated firmly, fire igniting her gaze. That's a great ambition, Clara. How do you plan to do it? Nathaniel asked, genuinely intrigued now. I'm still working on it, she replied. But I know I must start somewhere. To inspire even just one person could make a difference. Nathaniel listened, mesmerized by her passion, feeling guilt tugging at him for the deception that had drawn him to her in the first place. As if a shadow loomed over the budding connection they shared, he wrestled with whether he was being true to her or merely playing the part until he finished the bet. But even amid that inner turmoil, he couldn't help but admire her, her strength, her dreams, her ability to see beyond the limelight. Yet, as Nathaniel took advantage of their meetings, the weight of his secret grew heavier. He shivered at the thought of what would unravel if Clara ever learned the reason why he approached her in the first place. She was supposed to be just another conquest, but he found something he never anticipated, a deep, unsettling attraction that terrified him. That evening at the lavish holiday party he hosted, amidst twinkling lights and laughter, Clara's mere thoughts haunted him. Could he still play the game? Could he keep wearing the mask he put on? When he encountered Marco and his other privileged friends, they laughed and engaged in shallow banter, gossiping about the latest business successes. Marco's question about the bet made everything come crashing down on him. Hey, Nathaniel, any success with that girl from the cafe? Marco teased, his laughter echoing in Nathaniel's mind, reminding him of the very deception that was once filled with light-hearted confidence. As Nathaniel laughed along, a pang of guilt stabbed through him. Somewhere deep inside, he felt that nothing would ever be the same again. Clara wasn't just a bet. She had transformed into something wholly different, someone he yearned to connect with, someone he wanted to protect. Days turned into weeks as Nathaniel continued his visits to the cafe, each moment with Clara deepening his internal conflict. The more he learned about her, the more he admired her spirit and determination. Yet, with every passing interaction, the invisible web of deception he had spun began to feel suffocating. The laughter and friendly chatter shared over mugs of steaming coffee masked the guilt gnawing at his conscience. Each chat revealed layers of Clara that fascinated him. They discussed her father's steadfast work ethic and his unwavering dignity in a world that often overlooked people like him. Every job carries its own worth, and it's the way one approaches the work that defines them, Clara would say, her blue eyes sparkling with passion as she spoke of him. Nathaniel could hardly keep up. Here was a woman whose life revolved around meaningful connections and authentic experiences, while he was trapped in a world where success was measured in wealth and status. The conversations opened his eyes to ideals he had cast aside in pursuit of ambition and prestige, and he began to feel discomfort rise within himself. One day, they sat across from each other in the cafe as snow danced outside. Clara's laugh resounded like a melody, shaking Nathaniel from his deep thoughts. In that moment, a surge of emotions threatened to surface, raw and unfiltered. He wanted to tell her the truth about the bet. Somehow, He felt telling Clara his intentions was essential, yet incredibly terrifying. "You seem deep in thought today, Nathaniel. Everything all right?" she asked gently, a hint of worry dancing across her features as she leaned in closer. Her presence enveloped him, making him feel transparent, vulnerable. "Yeah, just thinking about the future, I guess. What were you saying about your project?" He diverted the conversation like a thief slipping through the cracks of a wall he built around himself. But Clara wasn't having it. She narrowed her eyes, piercing through his facade. "You know, it's okay not to have it all figured out, right?" Clara continued. "Authenticity is what matters. I've learned that the hard way. I want to help others find their path. It's why I'm so passionate about this program. People need to realize that every moment can spark change. What if the change is difficult? What if they fail?" Nathaniel pressed on, a tinge of discomfort lining his voice. This line of questioning was unlike him, almost self-reflective. He had always lived avoiding failure, cloaked under layers of bravado. Clara's lips curled into a serene smile, one that shifted the atmosphere. "And isn't that exactly the point? It's vital to stumble before you can rise. We all deserve a chance to learn from our mistakes. I learned from my father that failure is part of growing. Without it, we remain stagnant. There's always a chance to rise again." Her wisdom struck a chord deep within him, shaking the foundation upon which he had built his life. As he sat in silence, the reality of his own facade began to unravel. Deep down, he wasn't just afraid of losing a bet. He feared that exposing his true self might unravel this fragile connection they had begun to build. The mask, he realized, was becoming suffocating. Several days later, Nathaniel took Clara to a small, cozy restaurant of her suggestion, a stark contrast to the opulent places where he usually dined. The warmth of the candlelight bathed their surroundings in a golden hue, creating a perfect ambience for the evening. Clara's eyes gleamed with laughter, filling the space with a contagious joy that stunned him. This was a side of her he'd never seen before. As they shared a plate of pasta, mixed laughter and deeper conversations flowed. Clara opened up about her childhood and the struggles of living in a modest neighborhood. "People often underestimate the beauty in ordinary lives," she remarked, her voice so inviting. "How do you stay positive?" Nathaniel asked genuinely, holding his breath, unaccustomed to such raw emotion. Clara paused mid-bite, as if searching for the right words. "It's about perspective. Some people let conflict weigh them down, but I've made it my mission to find the smile in moments of struggle. My dad told me that every challenge is a chance to open a door to opportunities." In that moment, Nathaniel felt the cage he had created around his feelings shatter a little more. So starkly different from his life of unchecked ambition, Clara represented everything that he had dismissed. He had chased achievements and accolades, yet it had led him here, to this indecision, this internal battle he could no longer hide from her nor himself. As she spoke, he felt a mixture of admiration and longing. Clara filled the gaps in his life, ingredients he never knew he needed. But as her words washed over him, guilt reared its head again. Did he deserve to hold on to these newfound feelings knowing the truth that lay tangled in deceit? Days slipped by, and they continued to meet, each moment interwoven with laughter and sharing dreams. Clara's growing ambition fired up the spark within him. Yet deeper connections also meant deeper fears. Since that eve in the restaurant, Nathaniel had sensed an unmistakable shift in him, an unsettling realization that honesty was the only way forward. If he were ever to truly win Clara's heart, he could not continue holding back. It was during a stormy night that Nathaniel finally reached his breaking point. Sitting on his couch, absorbed in memories lived over the past weeks, visions of Clara flooded his thoughts. The laughter, the passionate conversations, the moments of silence, each one a reminder that he had been insincere. Nathaniel picked up his phone as he sat there, deciding to send Clara a message, inviting her for coffee that weekend. But would he tell her everything? Would he finally break free from the chains of his own making? As the storm raged outside, the storm within him intensified. Arriving at the cafe, Nathaniel found Clara already waiting, her hair slightly damp from the drizzle. She wore her warmest smile upon noticing him walk through the door, and it struck him. How could he tell her the truth, knowing that it threatened to tear apart everything they were building? "Hey, you made it!" Clara beamed, her eyes lighting up the room. "I was hoping today was the day we finally had our chat." "Yeah, I was thinking the same thing," Nathaniel replied, every nerve in his body firing as he tried to find the right moment to confess. Silence settled between them like a thick fog, racing through his mind and heart. "So, do you have something on your mind? Or are we going to keep dancing around it?" she probed, leaning closer. With a shaky breath, Nathaniel attempted to navigate the wave of emotions clamoring for release. "Clara, there's something I need to tell you. It's about how this all started." As the words crumbled in his throat, Clara's eyes widened, and Nathaniel realized that it was not just the confession. Ahead he feared. It was the judgment, the possible disappointment etched on her lovely face. Would he lose her forever? Would he watch all they had built together through shared, glittering moments disappear in an instant? "Listen, Nathaniel. Whatever it is, I'm willing to hear it. You can trust me, I promise." There was sincerity in her voice, but the enormity of his lies began to weigh heavily in the air. Courage swelled inside him as he realized that truth was his only chance now, to let go of the mask he wore. "This started as a bet, Clara. A challenge from my friends to make you fall for me. But you became so much more to me than a mere wager. I am sorry I didn't tell you before, but it's true. You've changed me in ways I didn't think were possible." Silence enveloped them. Clara's expression transformed as uncertainty flooded her features. Nathaniel's heart sank as he anticipated the anger or hurt that might follow. His secret lay bare between them, shadowing their connection. Now, it was time to see if their journey together would end right here, or if hope flickered still in the midst of this turmoil. The moment Nathaniel's words hung in the air, an unexpected chill washed over him. Clara's eyes widened, her brow furrowing as she processed the revelation. The surprise morphed into a mix of confusion and hurt, exactly what he feared would happen. In a heartbeat, the vibrant laughter and warmth that surrounded them dissipated, replaced by an uncomfortable silence that swallowed the cafe whole. "A bet," Clara finally whispered, as if the mere mention of it cracked the very foundation of their budding relationship. "You mean all this time, you were just playing a game?" Her voice trembled ever so slightly, leaving Nathaniel with a painful sting in his chest. He watched as the sparkle in her eyes dimmed, replaced by shadows of betrayal. "No, it was supposed to be just that in the beginning." Nathaniel hurried to explain, desperation creeping into his tone. "But things changed. I changed. I didn't expect to feel this connection with you. You became more than just a challenge. You became someone important to me. Please believe me." Clara leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms defensively, as if trying to shield herself from him. "So you only came to me because it was a dare? Because you viewed me as someone you could win over? How should I take that?" The accusation felt like a punch to the gut. Nathaniel couldn't endure the disbelief etched across her features. Here, in this moment, he felt utterly vulnerable, the last of his defenses stripped away. "I thought winning you over would be a fun challenge, but I didn't expect to find someone who makes me want to be better. Someone who sees the world differently," he pleaded, grasping for any words that could help him make sense of what had transpired. Clara shook her head slowly, disappointment sweeping through her. The statement felt hollow, echoing his past arrogance. "I spent all this time thinking you were charming and different from the crowd I usually encounter. And maybe you are, but I feel foolish now for letting you in. You might have won the bet, but lost everything else. How can I trust you again after this?" There was an intensity in her gaze that rendered him speechless. She was right. He had built up all this admiration in a space clouded by deception. His heart raced as he fought to regain footing in a situation sliding perilously out of his control. "I understand if you want to walk away. I wouldn't blame you. But I can't simply ignore how I feel about you now. You mean so much more than a bet to me, Clara. You taught me lessons about authenticity and purpose that I had long forgotten. I want to grow. I really do." Clara's eyes softened for a moment. The wall she had built around herself flickered just slightly, but the hurt was still too great to break through. These feelings you have, they came too late, Nathaniel. I need time to process this revelation before I can even consider anything else. Trust is not easily rebuilt. You might have changed, but I wonder if I can believe that for you. It's genuine. The uncertainty in her tone felt like icy water dumped over him. He would have rather opened his heart for her to see all the ugly flaws than this emptiness that became his swiftest reality. Watching her fight with her decision made the pain within him swell. Suddenly, the cafe felt too small, as if their emotions had filled the air to a suffocating point, trapping them in limbo. He leaned back in his chair, lips parting to speak, but finding no words adequate to convey the depth of regret gripping his heart. Eventually, the silence grew thick, and Clara pushed her chair back, rising to her feet. I need to go. I can't do this right now. Clara's departure was abrupt, like a lightning strike illuminating the storm clouds that had formed above him. Nathaniel remained seated, the weight of their conversation crashing over him like a tidal wave of remorse. What should have been one of their best moments had devolved into an encounter dripping with bitterness and regret. The days that followed felt interminable. A lingering feeling of loss spread through Nathaniel's life like a thick fog, obscuring every happy memory they had shared. He buried himself in work, but the success he once reveled in felt hollow without Clara beside him. Every success, every contract meant nothing without someone to celebrate alongside. As Christmas approached, the city transformed into a winter wonderland of dazzling lights and festive decorations. Typically adored, the thrill of the season brought only melancholy reminders of Clara's absence. Every corner of the city echoed her laughter, her tender spirit, the very joy that had sparked his own transformation. Determined to win Clara back, Nathaniel spent the first few nights in his penthouse doing nothing but planning. A bright display of ideas and gestures he hoped could bridge the gap between them. Yet, he grappled with the understanding that trust once broken would not be easily fixed. He resolved that every display of affection he conjured would have to be genuine, reflective of the relationship they could build anew. Before he could put his plan into action, a chance encounter took him entirely by surprise. Nathaniel bumped into Clara, of all places, at an art exhibition intended to raise money for the youth program she dreamed about. Confined by social obligations he couldn't evade, he had shown up hoping to support a cause that was intimate to her. As he stepped into the gallery, Clara's back faced him, framed by the vibrant paintings that surrounded her. In that instant, all the plans he had made vanished from his mind, replaced by the echo of her presence. She wore a deep red dress, striking against the backdrop of canvases showcasing vibrant colors, contrasting beautifully with her golden hair cascading around her shoulders. Clara, he began, his feet moving forward before reason could catch up with emotion. The moment she turned to face him, time seemed to freeze. Nathaniel, what are you doing here? She asked, her cheeks creasing slightly as confusion clouded her expression. Yet Nathaniel noticed a glimmer of something wistful in her eyes, a flicker of the connection they had shared. I came to support the project. Yours. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. It's beautiful, just like you, he said, sincerity dripping from every word. Clara's expression mirrored a tug-of-war within, hesitance competing with the smile that darkened her lips momentarily. Thank you, but you didn't need to come. What do you hope to achieve showing up here? She questioned, revealing a defensive edge in her tone. I hope to show that I support what you believe in, what you've built with such passion. I realize that what you're doing for these kids, it's inspiring. It made me rethink my own life. I wanted to tell you that I'm so proud of you, Clara. Nathaniel struggled to keep steady under her intense gaze. Proud or interested? She pressed, her voice steady as it cut through the air like an arrow. A wave of melancholy washed over him, and he felt an unfamiliar vulnerability surfacing. As he briefly considered the question, he swallowed hard before responding, not just interested. Proud of what you've created, and I want to lend my resources to help you realize your dream. Your happiness has become intertwined with my own desire to honor the growth you've inspired in me. Clara let out a slow sigh, tension easing a fraction, but still guarded. Why now, Nathaniel? Why show up when things were just beginning to settle? I have spent weeks carefully unpacking everything you shared and moving forward. I built my life despite the disappointment you've caused. This is still painful because I finally understand that I must present my true self, Clara. I can't undo the past, but I'm willing to build something real if you'll let me. I'm here to prove that I mean it, Nathaniel said, his heart racing. The silence swelled between them once more, heavy with emotions unspoken. Nathaniel watched Clara's exterior soften slightly, as if grappling with the choice ahead of her. If I say yes to working together, if I let you back in, you need to know this. I won't tolerate dishonesty, Nathaniel. It's too painful, and I deserve better. We have to start fresh. Can you commit to that? The question hung precariously in the air. Nathaniel nodded firmly. He was determined. Yes, wholeheartedly. I'm ready to take that step together. Let's move forward intentionally, with clarity. With Clara's encouraging smile lingering in the back of his mind as their bittersweet reunion took shape, Nathaniel felt a flicker of hope as he realized he was finally taking action toward a new beginning, aware of the legacy they could create together. As the weeks passed since their unexpected reunion at the art exhibition, Nathaniel and Clara embarked on a new journey together. The tentative lines they had drawn began to dissolve as they forged a partnership built on transparency and shared passions. The memory of betrayal still lingered between them, but the warmth of genuine connection slowly started to erase the scars. Their days became busy with meetings, planning sessions, and countless hours of brainstorming ways to expand Clara's nonprofit project. Now more than ever, Nathaniel channeled his drive toward helping underprivileged youth gain access to education, something that resonated deep within him. Clara, in turn, recognized Nathaniel's determination to prove his sincerity, and slowly, they began trusting one another. One afternoon, as they sat across from each other in a cozy cafe, Clara's eyes sparkled with inspiration. I can see how we can develop a mentorship program. I want kids in my neighborhood to connect with professionals who can guide them and inspire them for their futures. What do you think? She exclaimed, her excitement infectious. Nathaniel leaned closer, captivated by her vision. That's brilliant. We could leverage our networks. I have some contacts who may be willing to volunteer their time, and we can utilize social media to reach a wider audience for fundraising. He felt a rush of energy as they jotted down ideas, their minds dancing in tandem. It feels good to finally work together towards something meaningful. I never imagined I would care about this cause as much as I do now, Clara mused, exchanging an enthusiastic glance with Nathaniel, her smile shining brighter than the cafe lights above. That's exactly it. You've opened my eyes in a way I never expected, Nathaniel admitted softly. You've inspired me to search for authenticity in everything I do. I want to show you that I'm committed beyond just our project. They shared a moment of connection, both excited and nervous about the road ahead. They spent evening after evening strategizing how they could reach as many children as possible, immersing themselves in the meaningful work that lay before them. Soon, the duo organized their first fundraising campaign, a winter gala meant to inspire the community and celebrate the youth they wanted to help. To say it was a success would be an understatement. The event brought together locals, philanthropists, and businesses, united by their shared goal to uplift the next generation. Clara's charisma shone brightly, and Nathaniel felt a genuine sense of pride watching her captivate the audience. As the evening unfolded, Clara took the stage, not as a mere speaker, but as a leader in her community. She spoke passionately about the program's goals and the difference it could make in the lives of those less fortunate. The crowd responded with admiration, and each word she uttered resonated in the hearts of all those in attendance. Nathaniel watched Clara with a swelling heart, realizing that all his earlier doubts paled in comparison to what they were building together. The transformation she inspired in him fueled something deeper than admiration. It felt like a driving force urging him to be better, not just for himself, but for those around him. Once the gala came to a close, Nathaniel congratulated Clara. You were incredible up there. I've never seen someone light up a room quite like you do. Thank you. I could feel the support, and it ignited a fire in me. But this night wasn't just about me. It's about our mission. It's about those kids who deserve chances just like we had." He nodded, impressed by her unwavering dedication, which further fueled his commitment. Together, they managed to raise significant funds that helped them lay the groundwork for the mentorship program they envisioned. What started as an initiative propelled by guilt evolved into something far beyond, an endeavor that encapsulated their desires to make a positive difference. However, as the project flourished, Nathaniel confronted another challenge. Could Clara see into his heart? The specter of doubt regarding his sincerity still hung over his head. Each time he caught glimpses of vulnerability in her eyes, a gnawing fear crept in. What if she still saw him as the man who had turned her life upside down with his lies? Even though they were making progress, the unaddressed feelings loomed just beneath the surface. Clara was the first to notice one day after a meeting. They had just wrapped up discussing how to market their initiative when she approached him just as he was about to leave. "Hey, can we talk about something that's been on my mind?" Nathaniel paused, anxiety twisting his stomach. "Of course. What's bothering you?" His heart raced. He wondered whether she had felt the unrest that had festered within him too. "I feel like we've made great strides, but I can sense that something is still not quite settled between us. I need to know, are we completely okay? Can I trust you fully?" Clara blurted out, her voice slightly shaky. The question pushed against Nathaniel's heart, compounding the weight he carried since their initial fallout. Taking a deep breath, he finally would confront all his fears and uncertainties. He moved closer, leaning on the table, trying to ground himself in this moment. "I want you to know that I am committed to this mission and to you, Clara. I can't change the past, but I'm here to build something real with you, a partnership with integrity and trust. The truth is, after everything we've accomplished together, my feelings for you have only grown stronger. I want to be someone you can believe in wholeheartedly." Clara's expression softened, and for the first time, he saw the barriers she had built begin to fade. Knowing that changes everything. "It's comforting to hear, Nathaniel, but please don't just say what you think I want to hear. I need the truth from you now more than ever. I promise. No more words without intentions. I want to create a foundation of trust that we can build upon. I'm ready to show you that this isn't about games anymore." They locked eyes, slowly both releasing the tension that had built between them. "Then let's continue this journey together." Clara smiled softly, hope replacing the doubts that had lingered like specters. In the following weeks, Clara and Nathaniel thrived both personally and professionally. They cultivated a workspace interspersed with laughter, team planning, and dedication. The connection they shared deepened as they worked side by side, turning their pain into purpose and their pasts into lessons. Watching Clara embrace her role as a leader within the community reminded Nathaniel of the woman he had first fallen for, the one who possessed fierce determination and compassion. Through events that continued on from the gala, they engaged with children from various backgrounds, establishing mentorships that came to life in unexpected ways. Clara, compassionate as ever, encouraged warmth and guidance in all waves of the community, while Nathaniel provided the structure and connections they needed. On a chilly evening months later, standing beneath strings of twinkling fairy lights outside the newly opened community center, one they had worked relentlessly to build, Nathaniel glanced at Clara and realized just how far they had come. It was a pivotal moment where the weight of their past challenges seemed to be washed away, replaced by what lay ahead. "So, this is it. Our dream finally realized." Nathaniel beamed, ever proud of their accomplishments. Clara intertwined her fingers with his, somewhat glowing. "It's been worth every moment. I truly believe we can change lives together," she added. "I wouldn't want it any other way." He smiled genuinely, and the touch of their hands kindled the warmth of all they had built. "Together, we are better than we ever could have been apart." As they stood side by side, gazing at the laughter of children mingling with the soft audio of music floating in the air, Nathaniel realized that he had found more than redemption or purpose. He had found love. Clara had inspired him to seize life with authenticity, a lesson becoming a constant reminder of the power of true change. He leaned in and whispered, "With you by my side, I'm ready for whatever life holds. Can we create a life together based on this understanding? I want us to take every chance and cherish every moment. Clara's eyes sparkled with warmth and admiration. Absolutely, Nathaniel. I'm all in. Together, we can take on the world. And as they shared a soft kiss among twinkling lights and laughter, Nathaniel knew that in unfolding their shared legacy, they would redefine not just their pasts, but their futures as well. They stood at the cusp of hope, willing to embrace everything that lay ahead, ready to shape lives for many more years to come. Share your thoughts in the comments on a scale of 0 to 10. What would you rate this story? If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.